Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV. We're here at 5th Cloud Expo. I have with me Arthur Aubrey from Netstar Systems. Welcome, Arthur.
Thank you, Jeremy.
5th Cloud Expo is closed at the moment because we're trying to squeeze in as many interviews as we can, but it's like been booming all day behind us, so I didn't get time to get to see what Netstar Systems does. And in the event that someone else doesn't know, could you just fill us in? Where does Netstar play in the whole scheme of things?
Netstar is a cloud integrator in the large entity space, governmental, private sector. And we come at it from two directions. Obviously, the software and software implementation. And we partner with another company that builds extremely high-performance computer arrays. So that if you need a cloud that performs in certain key markets, such as the governmental space, and the private sector financial institution space is a very good one, we're the people you talk to.
Okay, so who would be a typical customer? You said federal, but, other things.
Okay, federal, traditionally the defense community, the intelligence community, also the non-defense community, example, the U.S. Agriculture type departments, research departments that have to determine what's going on from tremendous statistical analysis.
And when you're saying cloud integration, we're talking these huge clouds, so how does somebody know to come to you? What is the problem set involved in integration that makes you guys the domain expert?
High processing requirements, ultra high. You've got data sets that are essentially all of North America. You've got to chew through it, which right away means the computational piece and the data management piece. And you get into what amounts to straight engineering problems that have to be solved.
So it's a way of sourcing. It's our old friend. They're sourcing those problems to you, and you're just able to do them because you have more people, more experience? What's the...
With the experience, a lot of the cloud computing area, we believe, is migrated beyond, gee whiz, I know how to install stuff, to, gee whiz, I know how to do the engineering in terms of transactions per second, cycles to get data, processing times, bandwidth in blade chassis, bandwidth in stacks of flat servers, container equivalent units, which are 3,000 some odd flat servers in shipping containers. Those are the scales we deal in, because for certain problems, you need that.
So I'm thinking there are not too many people who have that as their track record.
No, that's not your typical, small to small mid-sized market.
And how long have you been doing this that's given you that extraordinary experience?
Over the last 2 decades. We started in the rail transportation industry, some of us started in the defense intelligence industry, and we all converged approximately 7 years ago.
Right. So now 7 years, that was pretty prescient, because that predates cloud as cloud, doesn't predate grid or utility, but you were pretty prescient.
We were ahead of the time. That's been one of our problems, because when you're ahead of the time, sometimes the market has to come up to you.
Yeah. Now, is the market lagging behind you still today?
In some cases, yes, because some of our clients come to us with a solution. We point out that we have something, we show it to them, they say, my God, that's more than we expected was possible. And that's in the area which is emerging for us, which is aggregation. There's traditional virtualization, and then there's take all these machines and make one out of it. It's a whole nother dynamic.
Aggregation, and you're the only guys doing this?
We're not the only guys. There are other firms that do it. We can name names if necessary, but it's becoming an emerging technology for the ultra-high performance crowd.
There we are. I see another conference coming on. That was why I'm asking.
Jeremy, there will be another conference on that one. I can assure you.
Now, for someone like yourself, so you come and you see, you've been doing this a little bit longer than most of the people in the room. Is there a danger that you look at the others and think, these guys don't get it at all? I'm doing the big stuff and I did it before them.
The big thing as an employer is to make sure that the kids you hire view you as just one of the boys. So you have to be up on your technology. You have to teach what they don't know. And they have to teach you what you don't know, and you have to keep an open mind. And it's been a very growing experience throughout.
So, as a chief architect you're architecting things that other architects are hiring you for. You're sort of the Uber architect.
That's a possible term. Funny thing is that we tend to view my role in the role of two famous architects. One made the pitch famous one, Frank Lloyd Wright's teacher, form follows function, which traditionally in the IT business meant get tons of documentation, tons of requirements, and you make yourself incompetent in some cases. We've all seen that. Another role is from a famous German architect, less is more. One of his examples is up there by Grand Central Station here in New York. And my role is to balance the two countervailing forces of form follows function when you build ultra-large cloud environments, and yet always remember that in many cases, less is more.
I like this. I could grow to like this. Proverbs to live by in the IT world. Have you got any more like that?
I think we better go offline and find a place where they sell adult beverages.
Well, look, Aubrey, from your perspective, I mean, you have been around. You are a veteran, also now a veteran of cloud. Yes. Do you think that there's any hope for the people behind us? Do you think they'll finally get it and turn this into a mature industry?
It will take some time. In many ways, the cloud industry reminds me of the rail transportation industry, where it's going to be more of an issue of capital and assembling things, and then learning how to eke out money on tiny little improvements such as track bolts or welded rail and that sort of thing. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that.
Well, thank you. I've been around. As you have been around. We've both been around.
We've been around. And so is cloud computing. It will always be around. What should we do to leave people with something they want to find out about, an area that you are passionate about, then you think maybe they're not paying enough attention to? Are there any such areas?
There is an area we have noticed, how you build appliances to run in the cloud. We believe you need a lab environment of some kind. And what we find are not too many products that even cover the area of capturing the intellectual property. I hire you to build something.
Right. Where is it?
Where is it? What have you done for the last 6 weeks? And then can we replicate it? And certain technologies such as snapshotting are appropriate, but other technologies which seem to be absent, such as capturing everything you do or the order in which you do it, are not existent. So that could be a future conference.
Well, or more importantly, a future product. If someone hears this and says, well, I know how one could do that. Right. I mean, that's partly why we hope these shows succeed, is that somebody says, I don't get why such and such doesn't happen. And by the next show, there's a whole company.
Yeah, this show provides a very important function to cross-fertilize, agitate a little bit. Some people get very wound up, including yours truly. And possibly you sometimes.
The cloud is a very passionate place.
Absolutely. And then you go on and say, okay, what can I make out of this? What have I learned? And sometimes it's not what you were looking for.
I like it. We're going to give the last word to you, Arthur, because that seems appropriate. Arthur Aubrey, thank you so much for joining us. 5th Cloud Expo, and for being here throughout the thing. And thank you, viewers, for joining
Thank you, Jeremy.
Out on the World Wide Web.